All right, local swell trackers, it is Friday night. Jumping in here to do a little hindcasting and get into the south swell, but I'm going to do what I normally do, just start with the country. Wanted to show you last Thursday's models. This guy right here spinning down sent just a super long-lasting north-northwest swell this past week, and that's the reason why we had we had waves, forever. And then the big high pressure has set up here far north, northeast of us. Then due to a little bit of a low over here and this high here, we did see a little bit of a front and the weakening of our trade winds, but the trade winds are still here. What brought us some of this northeast swell today and yesterday to spots like Laniakea that had some 3-footers. The problem was it did blow out due to the trade winds being cut off. This front that's near Kauai. So we've had a plenty swell for the country for this time of year, and there's more to follow. I'll get into that. So here are the current models, the winds at the surface. There's this high pressure, about a 1030 millibar high, about 1,400 miles centered to our northwest. We've got a weak low pressure spinning counterclockwise over here, and again, that sent some of this wind swell. You can see that a lot of it's off to our west now. Starting in the animations, you can see that high pressure sticks around. We do see some near gale low all the way through the weekend. This guy right here might pulse us up later Wednesday. 3-foot swell, 12-second northwest, north-northwest, and through Wednesday. And probably get maybe about 2 to 4 if we're lucky. It's a lot of it's passing us off to the northeast. A little bit of sideband swells. Those swell trains sprout out as they move from the source. Guy will end up in the Gulf, but not before sending us some stuff. You can see the trade wind pattern by Wednesday, the 31st, is going to be back. The high pressure will have moved off to our northeast, and we have some of those isobars now delivering some upstream fetch, and there will have some local trade winds by then too, 10 to 20, leading to a more normal pattern. Continuing on, a little bit of storminess starting to form off of Japan, and that's too far out to really claim, but right now the models do say that around June 9th, we may see a little something from what's popping up, but that's just about as far out as we can go. All right, bringing the North Shore models current. Pretty quiet up there. Look at all the blues. There's that high pressure centered way far away to our northwest. There's that little bit of that weak low, pretty much sub-gale low. Then we have this guy trying to form here for that little bit of something coming up this late Tuesday, Wednesday from that source right there. And then it goes, take a look, the long range, really quiet, high pressure starting to form again, a big time off here to our northwest. And there's the system with an improper track and sub-gale winds there. And I don't think that's going to make it our way, but things can change. So the North Shore has a little bit of a northeast swell this Sunday, Monday, from the high pressure and that low I was pointing out. And even some more from that area, Monday, Tuesday. And then by late Tuesday, Wednesday, this northwest. So the North Shore is not going flat anytime soon till probably the upcoming weekend, Saturday, June 3rd. For about a week on, we go pretty much mill pond flat. Okay, getting to the land down under, looking at last Thursday, the 18th. And this complex area of low pressure here with winds at the surface. You can see a fetch here ramming right into New Zealand. That totally limited us. Man, we moved this thing over about 600 miles. This swell that we have now would have been outrageous. Kind of complex. We'll roll these things and take a look. Here's one fetch here hugging the New Zealand east coast that did big time limit that fetch. Look how long it is, though. I mean, that's towards 2,000 miles. We got the spinner far down here also adding some energy. This is Saturday, March 20th. So the swell built very slowly today at about 17 seconds. Did hit 5 feet. Some spots not getting as big as others, but it did get 5 feet. And tomorrow will be the peak of 4 to 6. So maybe a slight downgrade on this swell's potential, but a nice end to the month and an epic spring. So this is Sunday's models. See, again, that fetch is still lasting, so we're going to have plenty of overhead surf. Should be probably 3 to 5 on Sunday. And look at just how much activity is going on down there at the surface. And as time rolls on here, Tuesday by Tuesday, it weakens. It gets pretty hard to interpret. But overall, we will be dropping. Okay, getting our model runs current, thanks to Market Storm Surf. Take a look. There's that long fetch, bringing some plenty waves to Tahiti. A lot of this turns a little bit more zonal. The activity that we see It's a nice sized storm, but it is a very quick fetch. It moves out of our swell window since the storm is tracking zonal or west to east. But we should still see, well, nothing like Tahiti's going to see, but we should still see a boost this coming Thursday, Friday, and probably just to 1 to 3 feet. Getting the flow going again. You can see some minor fetch trying to get up our way. There's a little bit of a Tasman Sea source on Thursday, the first day of June. Models do project a 16-second southwest Tasman Sea swell from that source, but it's only going to get a foot of swell. Let's take a look at the swell heights produced by those surface winds we were looking at, and I'll show you that. There's the guy for the sideband swell here. Not really the proper track. And as the models get going, you see this Tasman Sea storm right here. It's really deep into the Tas. Fiji's going to get some great waves for the contest. But I would say it just gets too cheese grated by all the South Pac islands, including Fiji. And, well, 1 foot, 16 seconds is only going to be about 2 feet from the southwest. And we'll start feeling that Thursday the 8th into Friday and maybe Saturday. And hopefully we'll see some chest-high waves. But we've gotten spoiled. And then after that, we're just going to have to wait. The last day of the model runs do show another system. Looks like it may try to get out by the southeast coast of New Zealand. Taking a look at the surface charts there, current, there's the high pressure sitting there, and there's that low pressure, that weak low pressure. There's the source of the wind swell that we've had, and this will also be able to pull in some northeast swell Sunday, Monday, all small kind, but keep the country up. That low does have a little trailing front right near Kauai. That troughiness or area of low pressure aloft is keeping our trades light enough for midday land heating, convection, the cloud buildup, the sea breezes. The North Shore was completely blown out today, but because the cloud cover was pretty thick, town was glassy. It's pretty rare you see the sun out and choppy onshore winds in the country, and the South Shore having that gray glass and a nice, beautiful south swell. It was just like night and day today, Saturday. All right, the jet stream. There is that area of troughiness over the island. It's going to be out of here by Wednesday. When trades get back, weather will stabilize. The jet stream is definitely starting to look pretty weak. You can see how it bounces up over that big high pressure I was showing you, and then as time rolls on, it starts to lower, but the winds are not strong enough to really get any gale development from the upper levels down to the surface. But we do see a couple things to keep country rideable. Down under, you see that blue area? Well, the high pressure area, that's going to be hurting us for the future for some real serious swell like the one we just saw. It's not looking great down there. We want to see those dark loops pointing at least northeast towards us. Way up high in the sky, you can see the intertropical convergence zone has moved just pretty close to the Hawaiian Island chain there. There it is down there. It's where the trade winds from the North Pac meet the trades from the South Pac. You don't normally see that long of a flow in the upper levels there. The upper regions, the water vapor loops are showing a real pretty picture of it. You can see that instability here, and we did have some dirty water for Kealia over on Kauai, and the rain mostly confined to Kauai. None of this stuff is really going to be raining down on us that you see edging towards the Big Island. The brown areas are showing the drier sinking air. We're going to see more of that by Wednesday. Here's another view of it. You can see there is a slight light trade wind flow to the lower level clouds. These are the cirrus, the upper levels go in the opposite direction. You can see this little bit of a north flow for some of that northeast swell that's coming tomorrow and Monday. Drilling down, you can see Kauai is a lot closer to all the weather. Highs are going to be about 85, lows about 73. It's going to be a composite of trade winds early morning and late in the day, being outdone by the sea breezes toward midday, but that will be isolated. Like the North Shore today was way worse than town. And the reflective loops at the base, they do show all the rain that Kauai got today, and it's hovering now more off of the leeward coast. Pretty rare. But anyway, most showers will be confined to the typical windward and Mauka areas. And we'll end up with the pretty wind models. There's that weak low pressure up here, sending down adjacent to the high pressure over here to the northeast. There's the northeast wind swell. And then the land down under, these are again current. All the stuff we're seeing right now is about 7. We'd have to go back and take a look at the storm as it was 7 days ago. So you can see as this is not looking good for the South Shore swell generation, relatively speaking. Oh, well, keep our fingers crossed for the next one. Stay tuned at surfnewsnetwork.com. Mahalo for clicking in. Aloha.